item, we have 8.1, letter in opposition of State Assembly Bill AB 392 regarding peace officer and deadly force. Councilmember Taido.
Thank you very much, sir. Allow me to introduce the Assembly Bill 392, the author by Assemblywoman Shirley Weber in San Diego. It's also known as the California Act to Save Lives and Prevent Unnecessary Deaths by quote unquote clarifying law enforcement's obligation. Assemblywoman Weber team also stated that the legislation will push the officer to rely on de-escalation technique like verbal persuasion and crisis intervention methods instead of lethal force, which would be better protect lives of Black and Brown California who are disproportionately shot and killed by the police. Okay, so the Assembly Bill 392, it passed, it would limit the officer's ability to defend the public. AB 392 would change the standard of using deadly force for police officer from a reasonable standards, which were affirmed by the U.S. Supreme Court, to a necessary standards. It also require police officer to exhaust alternative methods before resort to deadly force. And it basically criminalized police officer for making a mistake doing a split second decision. And city across California will incur the liabilities as a result. Okay, so the bill basically is amend California Penal Code Section 196, justifiable homicide by a peace officers, and Penal Code Section 835A, the authority to use force. You know, while reading the Assembly Bill 392, I found it very complex and confusing. I have worked in law enforcement for over 20 years, and as a use of force expert and trainer, I believe it is important to understand the narrative of AB 392 to inform the law enforcement community and the public. AB 392 will create an impossible standard, and that officer often face in an uncertain life and death situations. Police officer would be vulnerable in hindsight analysis, and that is very difficult to identify under the option of critical moments when there is immediate dangers. It's also a standard that's inconsistent with the reaffirmed guidance from the United States Supreme Court, Graham versus Connors, which stated that the officer's action must be judged with a reasonable officer standards, and the courts have been directed to view the facts surrounding the officer's use of force as they were presented to the officer at the time the force was used, without relying on the benefit of 2020 hindsight, which is what the AB 392 allow the officer's action being judged after the fact, not at the moment when it happened. So if it passed, AB 392 would cause the officer to hesitate because they have to go through a checklist that was, and that hesitation would result in loss of life. And I don't think anybody wants that. In addition to creating a tremendous and routine life-threatening risk to police officer, AB 392 would discourage proactive policing. Why do we, as a city council, have to be concerned about this Assembly Bill 392? Well, our police officer cannot raise the defense of qualified immunity when they make mistakes. So in short, AB 392, very dangerous for everyone. It would limit the officer's ability to defend the public. Assembly Bill 392 would change the standards of using deadly force for police officer from a reasonable standard to a necessary standard, which is being judged by 2020 hindsight. So I would like to make a motion for the City Council to approve transmitting a letter from the City Council to our State Assembly office and Select Senator asking to oppose Assembly Bill 392.
A second.
All right, we have the motion and a second to come up with a letter in opposition of a State Assembly Bill AB 392. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Vote, please.
That motion carried 401 with Councilmember Nguyen abstaining.
All right, next we have Common City Council Agency Member 8, including AB 1234, report when required. Councilmember Contreras, have anything to report?
Nothing to report.
Councilmember Taido, you have anything to report?
Nothing to report. Thank you. Well, thank you.
Vice Mayor- oh,
I want
Vice
to thank
Mayor
the public